World Bank projects global weakest economy since 2008. Nigeria expected to rise within it. Mechanized agriculture, FGM backs on mass refurbishment of non-functional tractors.
The direction Naseni is headed is one driven by action, impact, innovation, and awareness of what the nation needs.
Plus, International Conference Center Abuja set to attract higher level discourse with new look.
This is a sign of the good way that we are correcting and we are reflecting, renewing our hope and believing in ourselves.
Hello and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. Reading from Lagos is Hengino John Adams. On business news is a very busy businessman, Benny Adams. Benny, what's new?
Well, it is about the cherry news from the World Bank that Nigeria's economy is expected to grow from the present 3.4% to some 3.6% and even 3.7% by next year or the other year.
Okay.
It's cherry.
And Bade Adeleye will serve us some sporting reports. Bade.
Elizabeth, the registration of new players by clubs now on hold as the initial summer transfer window closes.
And here's a reminder that you can follow this newscast live on our website, nt.ng/live, NG News Now on X, and other social handles displayed on your screen. Now the news. The newly inaugurated, renovated International Conference Center has been renamed Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center with a call for proper management of the edifice. Onoze Yakubu reports that President Bola Tinubu inaugurated the project.
The rehabilitation work on the newly inaugurated Bola Tinubu International Conference Center was completed within 18 months. The edifice now wears a new look. FCT Minister Yesen Wike commends the President for his support and with a passionate appeal from the President to allow him generate revenue for the sustainability of the edifice.
Today, this International Bola Tinubu International Conference can match any other international conference. But what I want to appeal, Mr. President, because I know pressure will come, how do we sustain this? I want to let everybody know. Whether you're a ministry, whether an agency, you want to use this, you have to pay something. You have to pay. That's the only way it can be sustained. Nothing like my brother, my sister is going to have wedding. If you want to use a place like this, such a beautiful place, then you must do something.
Mr. President, the renovation, the rehabilitation, and the transformation that we are witnessing in ICC is what we are bringing to this country, whether people like it or not. The Nigerian Parliament is very proud of you. We are proud of the fact that we do the budgeting, we give the approval, and we do the execution.
President Bola Tinubu, who was conducted round the conference center, expressed his satisfaction with the quality of work, reiterating his administration's stand at improving infrastructure in every sector of the economy, in line with the renewed hope agenda of his administration. He calls on potential users of the conference center to be ready to pay adequately for services.
This is a sign of the good way that we are correcting and we are reflecting, renewing our hope and believing in ourselves, in what we can do, what Nigeria can be, a great nation on earth. And you must obey what the landlord says. You want to use this place, you got to pay for it.
The President commended the minister, describing him as a transformational leader that is changing the narratives on infrastructure development in the FCT. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima was in Maiduguri to inaugurate 375 tractors, marking the commencement of a nationwide refurbishment of non-functional tractors by the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, and the National Asset Restoration Program, an initiative to boost mechanized agriculture and enhance food security. Mohamed Goni reports.
The plaque-off of the Naseni Tractor Recovery Project at the Borno State Agriculture Mechanization Authority in Maiduguri involves comprehensive restoration of multiple tractors across the country to strengthen mechanized farming. Each tractor has been comprehensively rehabilitated. The National Asset Restoration Program is Naseni's initiative to boost mechanized agriculture and enhance food security in fulfillment of the federal government's Renewed Hope agenda by reviving broken down or non-functional tractors. Commending Naseni for the initiative, the Vice President underscored the importance of maintenance culture and avoidance of wastages to build the nation's economy.
The Executive Chairman of Naseni, Mr. Khalid Suleiman Halilu, has shown both vision and agency in our collective quest for solutions. The direction Naseni is headed is one driven by action, impact, innovation, and awareness of what the nation needs. It takes clarity of purpose to embark on a mission such as this.
This is not just a program. It is a movement, and every movement needs momentum. Our national survey revealed that Nigeria holds over 47,000 broken down but serviceable agricultural and law enforcement assets. The cost to replace them will exceed 14 trillion. But at Naseni, we ask a simple question. Why replace them when we can restore them?
The heartbeat of modern agriculture, according to FAO's recommended tractor density of 1.5 horsepower per hectare, Nigeria requires a minimum of 750,000 functional tractors to meet its agricultural needs.
This strategic focus on restoration rather than replacement is fully aligned with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who also serves as the chairman of the governing board of Naseni. It is under his leadership that this bold national redirection has taken shape.
With effective implementation of the National Asset Restoration Program, it is expected that livelihoods will be rebuilt, food system will be strengthened, economic activities in the rural areas will be revitalized, and more values will be added to Nigeria's economy. In Maiduguri, Mohamed Goni, NTA News.
Now let's take you to Geneva, Switzerland, venue of the 113th International Labour Conference, where the Minister of Labour and Employment, Muhammadu Meigari Dingyadi, conveyed federal government's strong commitment to prioritising social justice and constructing an equitable society. Ignatius Nkwo brings us details.
Well, by 3 p.m. local time in Geneva, Switzerland, it was time for Nigeria to present the position of the federal government on the issue of workers and work environment. Now, 187 member nations of the International Labour Organization were all seated, eager to listen to Africa's most populous nation. And the man to make this presentation, Nigeria's Minister of Labour and Employment, Muhammadu Meigari Dingyadi. Well, when the minister mounted the podium, he started, first of all, by assuring the ILO that the federal government, in its Renewed Hope agenda, has already aligned with the visions of ILO, especially as regards to improved welfare of Nigerian workers and the environment.
Nigeria shares the ILO's vision of a just transition and acknowledges the sustainable development which hinges on inclusive economic growth, fair labor practices, and the robust democratic institutions.
The minister also spoke on transiting from informal to formal sector of the economy, which he says the federal government is putting in place to attract more investment.
Priority areas of the Renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, which are designed to reposition Nigeria as a prime global investment destination. Poverty eradication, economic growth, access to capital, improving the security of life and property, rule of law, and fight against corruption.
Well, after the presentation of the minister, some Nigerian delegates react to the minister's presentation.
Advise that the way forward is not just to take such resolutions, but to get labor leaders involved in decision-making and policies that concern the workers in the country.
We have two bills, one that has undergone public hearing, particularly to upscale domestic civil servants in Nigeria and give them registration, recognition, and the benefit to benefit so that we will reduce exploitation and also criminality in that job.
The International Trade Union Conference has urged the ILO to investigate alleged abuse of migrants by Saudi Arabia as it's getting set to host the 2034 FIFA World Cup. From Geneva, Switzerland, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Thank you, Ignatius. In other news, the federal government is committed to collaborating with state and local governments to ensure Nigerians have access to healthcare services at all levels. Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Muyi Aino, stated this during a meeting with performance and financial management officers in Enugu as he received feedback on challenges and peculiarities in the healthcare system in the state, aiming to improve services. Dr. Aino highlighted the value of the Performance and Financial Management Officers initiative by President Bola Tinubu's administration, noting that they are already making an impact by verifying information, guiding and providing oversight at health facilities, thereby enhancing accountability and transparency.
Understand how the takeoff of the program is going in the field and try to encourage them, but also hear from them to understand the challenges.
The NPHCDA boss added that the officers would undergo training to familiarize themselves with the healthcare system, ensuring effectiveness and efficiency in their roles. Away from health, economic reforms in the last 2 years of the present administration have been adjudged as largely successful owing to slowing inflation, GDP and currency growth, in addition to increased investors' confidence among other indicators. This, the view of the Independent Media and Policy Initiative during a World Press Conference in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
For 2 years, the economic winds across Nigeria have been swift with unfamiliar currents. But today, key players in Nigeria's economy say the challenging times are in fact laying the groundwork for a brighter future, which is already here.
The immediate reflection of the positive move inherent in the unification of the foreign exchange windows is the increase in revenue for states and local governments and a reduction in public debt. The federal government revenue rose by 82.4% from 6.8 trillion in 2023 to 12.4 trillion in 2024, driven by the unification of the foreign exchange rate, enhanced tax administration, and reforms in treasury remittances, according to data sourced from the World Bank.
Dr. Akinsiju believes that the removal of the petroleum subsidy and the unification of the nation's multiple foreign exchange windows, among other reforms, is a test of political will, which is yielding results that have never been recorded in 2 years of any administration since 1999.
In those 2 years, we can testify by verifiable data that Nigeria have recorded a substantial economic restructuring in measures beyond the contemplation of the various advocacies around restructuring demanded of Nigerian leaders of the past 26 years.
Dr. Akinsiju believes that with energy independence on the horizon, green shoots in agriculture, a healthier treasury, and a global confidence rebound, in addition to jobs on the rise, Nigeria is on the path of sustainable growth. The Independent Media and Policy Initiative appeals to government to ensure that these hard-won gains translate into tangible improvement for every Nigerian. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
And for more economic matters, Benny is standing by. Benny?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Now, the World Bank, in its latest Global Economic Prospects report, says the global economy is set to the weakest run since 2008 outside of recessions. This is coming from the heightened trade tensions and policy uncertainty slowing global growth. While global growth is projected to slow to 2.3% in 2025, nearly half of a percentage point lower than the rate that had been expected at the start of the year, the Nigerian economy is expected to grow further by 3.6% from the present 3.4%, which the World Bank says is impressive. The report also highlights the urgent need to boost job creation by equipping workers with skills, accelerate growth in addition to pursuing strategic trade and investment partnerships with other developing economies. And I look at the markets today, at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a total of 646.6 million shares in 23,977 deals, corresponding to a market value of 18.841 billion was traded. Today's data shows 50% decline in volume, 42% decline in turnover, but a 64 improvement in deals in percentage. And now the Nigerian current capitalization is like 71.9 trillion naira. And on the aggregate, 129 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 34 gainers and 28 losers. Looking at it, on the top losers, you have Reed Briscoe. It lost 2 naira 25 kobo, while the John Holt lost 6 naira 85 kobo, and Betaglas lost 210 naira 10 kobo. And looking at the top trades at this point, Access Co gained 1.9 billion naira, talking about the value of stocks traded today, while Zenith Bank got 2.5 billion, while GT Co got 3.3 billion naira. This is it. And business. It's time to take our first break. Do stay with us.
You're still watching the network news on NTA. Niger State Governor Mohammed Umar Bago has announced 1 billion naira for the resettlement of victims of the recent flood disaster in Mokwa, Niger State. The governor said this during an on-the-spot assessment of houses destroyed by the flood. Mukhtar Wowo reports.
In the visit, Governor Umar Bago revealed that the state government will provide 10 trucks each of rice, beans, maize, millet and sorghum to the flood victims. While commiserating with the victims of the flood disaster, the governor promised that all donations made will be judiciously distributed to the victims through a committee that will be headed by his deputy, Comrade Yakubu Garba. Governor Mohammed Umar Bago hinted that the state government will provide resettlement land and services. He then directed the Ministry for Land and Survey to issue a certificate of occupancy, COO, to the federal government to facilitate immediate construction of the resettlement homes for the flood victims.
We are grateful to the president of this country, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by the vice president, Kashim Shettima, where he sympathized with our situation and made a pledge of 2 billion naira for the settlement of the affected families.
The governor ordered that while the state government awaits the construction of the resettlement homes by the federal government, necessary arrangements will be made to ensure that the flood victims do not remain in the IDP camps for too long. Mukhtar Wu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the flood victims in Niger State have received a 300 million naira donation from the Borno State government to address their immediate needs. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum announced the donation when he led a state delegation on a sympathy visit to the state. Mukhtar Wowo once again brings us details.
Governor Zulum of Borno State, while making the donation, said the gesture is to complement the efforts of the Niger State government in addressing the challenges of the disaster. Governor Zulum, while commiserating with the government and people of Niger State over the devastating effects of the flood that claimed many lives and destroyed property and livelihoods, said it is time for all governments at subnational level to work collectively to mitigate the effects of climate change in the society.
The earlier debate was to work on how we shall mitigate effects of climate change, rising in sea levels. It's a matter of great concern.
Governor Mohammed Umar Bago appreciated his Borno State counterpart for the visit and donation, saying it was timely and a show of love. He observed that both states have many things in common.
But at this time of grieving, when people show empathy, they come to share in your grief, it shows love. This is what you are known for. I want to thank you very much.
Bago reassured that the donation will be utilized properly, even as he said lots of advocacy are ongoing on the need for the people to stay away from waterways. In Mina, Mukhtar, NTA News.
Away from emergency response, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has been conferred with another chieftaincy title from Igbo land, this time as the Ugozimba I of Enugu. The recognition, which acknowledges her as a jewel of women empowerment, was conferred on her by the chairman, Enugu State Traditional Rulers Council, His Royal Highness Igwe Samuel Asadu. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports that the conferment ceremony precedes the launch of the Free to Shine triple elimination campaign for the Southeast Zone in the states.
There, appreciation found ample expression in tradition as Enugu State Traditional Rulers Council conferred a chieftaincy title of Ugosimba I of Enugu on Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. Their title, which recognizes her as jewel of women empowerment, is another toast to the First Lady's interventions and impact on the lives of women and the less privileged.
As Igwe Samuel, His Majesty Igwe Samuel Ikechukwu Asadu is mandated to recognize all this, because we can only recognize it when you're alive. We don't want to say this when you're not here. So on behalf of my brothers here, my fellow kings, I want to thank you and thank our father. Send this message to him that we thank him. That, like I said, there's no vacancy in Asorok, just like there's no vacancy in the Lion Building here.
The First Lady received the honor with smile, pride, and a new sense of commitment to the development of Nigeria.
I thank you, and this moment will remain special in my heart, and I will always remember your people for the honor you've done me.
From the ceremony, the First Lady joined critical stakeholders in and around the health sector to flag off the Free to Shine triple elimination campaign for the Southeast Zone.
The goal of this campaign is to address the growing complacency in the response to the spread of HIV/AIDS in Africa. The Free to Shine campaign seeks to significantly reduce new HIV infections among women of reproductive age, prevent mother-to-child transmission, which is the vertical transmission, and ensure that every child born with HIV receives the necessary treatment and support to thrive.
As survivors unpacked their testimonies and brandished their victory against HIV/AIDS, the message of hope renewed against the menace of HIV/AIDS, syphilis, and hepatitis is clear. But so is the need for more resource mobilization and collaboration.
I believe with the concerted efforts of all stakeholders here present, especially as State First Ladies, who will help disseminate this message in their various states. This deadline can be attained by the grace of God, and I rely on you all to do the needful. Please, I'm going to repeat this again. I want to see your billboard in every state with your picture there, encouraging people to get tested and to get treatment.
This is not just a medical goal, it is a moral one, because these diseases are preventable and our people deserve to live free of them.
In the 2025 budget, adequate budgetary provision has been made to ensure that we do not have any gap in the supply of ART drugs, reagents for testing, and other essential inputs.
Since its maiden launch in January this year, the Free to Shine triple elimination campaign has gone around the country, drawing support and building coalition against killer diseases. From Enugu, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
To security, Kano State Acting Governor Aminu Abdulsalam has enjoined residents to remain vigilant and report threats to peace and security in their communities. He made the appeal while receiving the emirs of Rano and Gaya, who paid him a Salah homage at the government house. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
Royal musicians brought life to the occasion as they performed in the company of the Emir of Rano, Muhammad Isa Umar. He is on a Salah homage to the acting governor of Kano State, Aminu Abdulsalam. The Emir's visit was both ceremonial and purposeful. While paying his traditional homage, he also took the opportunity to express appreciation to the Kano State government for its development efforts. He specifically commended the execution of projects in the Rano Emirate, including road construction, water supply initiatives, and the ongoing modernization of the Rano markets. The acting governor thanked the Emir for acknowledging the efforts of the administration and praised the monarch for his fatherly role in calming tensions following a recent crisis that claimed the lives of a resident and a divisional police officer. Abdulsalam urged residents of Rano and the entire state to remain law-abiding and vigilant, emphasizing the importance of collective responsibility in safeguarding peace and security. Also received by the acting governor was the Emir of Gaya, Ali Ibrahim Abdul Qadir, who, in addition to Salah homage, conveyed message of appreciation from his subjects. Appreciation for the execution of various development projects in and around the emirate by the administration of Governor Abubakar Yusuf, including the siting of a new state polytechnic in Gaya. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Now, in the heart of Nigeria's northwest, a silent revolution is underway, one that is transforming lives, bridging communities and paving the way to a more prosperous future. Mohammed Musa Skira reports that Jigawa is now a place where roads are more than just tarred surfaces. They're lifelines of development.
Governor Umar Namadi administration has inherited 26 strategic road projects from its predecessor and not only ensured their completion but gone several steps further. This year alone, 48 new road projects have been launched under Umar Namadi administration, all at various stages of execution. From rural hamlets and sleepy villages to bustling towns and emerging urban centers, these roads are creating vital connections. A staggering 400 billion carefully committed to one purpose, opening up Jigawa State to commerce, opportunity and inclusion. In places once cut off by poor road access, local farmers now reach bigger markets. Women in small communities travel more safely to health centers, while movements of goods and services become seamless.
If you go to some places where before they have a problem of access to their environment, to their houses, to the markets, to the schools, you find that now they are all have access to that their facilities.
The construction of this road has made our villages more well-known and has also improved our economic well-being. We, the drivers, and our passengers are very happy with this renovation and construction.
Jigawa is redefining what governance means at the grassroots. But beyond the statistics and engineering marvels lies the true story of people empowered, lives uplifted, and states on the move. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
For more reports on the network news, let's head to Lagos, where Hingino is standing by with some reports. Hingino.
Thank you, Lizzie, and welcome to Lagos. Sanlam, one of Africa's largest non-banking financial services powerhouse, and Allianz, one of the world's most recognized insurance brands and market leaders, have adopted a new identity, Sanlam Allianz, leveraging combined strength towards customer satisfaction. Diana Ajali, who was at the official launch of the new identity in Lagos, reports.
It was an evening of celebration, a new dawn for two global non-banking financial services provider and risk management insurance company that have been rendering excellent insurance services for over a century, now leveraging combined efforts.
The coming of Sanlam Allianz, it is here.
The launch of Salam Alliance, Chairman Femi Oyetunji said, is a significant milestone in the company's journey and focuses on renewed energy and ambition.
It is our evolution, our commitment to staying relevant in insurance and financial services market, and our unwavering focus on delivering even greater value to you as stakeholders.
And it will offer new opportunities for good insurances, both for individuals, for people, and for companies.
Chief Executive Officers Salam Alliance speak further on the aims and objectives of the collaboration.
We are building the culture of trust. We live by our words. We pay claims as our when due. This partnership will bring innovative solutions and ensure that those that are financially excluded now are also brought into the financial inclusion bracket.
What we are doing is realignment of the businesses to ensure we're able to deliver our customers the best of both worlds. For us, whatever billboards or adverts that we put out there, it's our customers that ultimately give the testimony.
Salam Alliance core operations is in life, health and general insurance, as well as asset management, serving over 30 million customers across 27 countries on the continent. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
The current democratic dispensation in Nigeria is the longest in her 65 years of independence from colonial rule. Lanre Bele takes a look at the gains and challenges of 26 years of civil rule.
Transitioning from military to civilian rule in 1999 was an inevitable development. It has been 26 years of democratic journey. The gains include increased citizen participation, periodic elections, and transition of power, a vibrant civil society, human rights progress, people-centered infrastructural projects and policies, recognition of geopolitical zones in decision-making, and economic development policies and programs.
Also, recapitalization is also still going on, even as we speak. A strong banking system or a strong financial system is critical to development.
Challenges that continue to hinder the full realization of democratic dividends include electoral malpractices, insecurity, corruption, and ethnic religious divisions. Many scholars are convinced that these issues can be tackled through national integration.
All of us have common interests: good roads, good educational system, functioning hospitals. If that is the basis on which state government interact with local government, state government interact with the federal government, we would really be talking in terms of the problem that we are talking about now.
The Renew Hope initiative of the present administration targets national integration from interlocking road projects, agricultural and empowerment programs to tax reforms and local government autonomy. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Lagos. Network News will continue after the break.
Good to know you're still there. The Federal High Court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, has convicted and sentenced 9 Chinese to 1 year imprisonment each for cyber-terrorism and internet fraud. They are among the 792 fraudsters arrested last December during an EFCC sting operation. They initially pleaded not guilty to the charges but later changed their plea to guilty. This made Presiding Justice Daniel Osiago to met out the 1 year sentence or a fine of 1 million naira each, while they are to be repatriated after completing their prison term. Now, the Co-Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Sheil Mohammed, has commended the management of the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, Abuja, for taking decisive action against its staff. I'll take that again. The Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Shehu Mohammed, commends the management of the Federal Medical Center Jabi Abuja for taking decisive action against its staff, alleged to have neglected a victim who was rescued from a crash scene within the nation's capital, emphasizing the imperatives of timely and adequate medical attention in reducing mortality rates and improving outcomes for crash victims. It calls on all healthcare providers to adopt a more proactive approach in responding to emergencies and saving lives of rescued victims. While condemning the several rejections of crash victims, the Corps Marshal commended a good Nigerian who single-handedly rescued the victim. In another development, the Golden All Progressives Congress APC Rivers State chapter says there is no existing platform within and outside Rivers promoting the reconciliation of the suspended governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. State chairman of the party, Tony Okocha, says the widespread statement that President Bola Tinubu might reverse the emergency rule is untrue, affirming that the rule was already gazetted by the two houses of the National Assembly.
Within the bounds of my knowledge, and as somebody who had played and is still playing at the epicenter of all of these in Rivers State, I am not aware of any reconciliation or reconciliatory moves by Fubara and his team. On the 29th of May, when they still till he went to somewhere, he was assuring them that he will soon return. And that when he returns, that they should all be calm. That when he returns, all of them will go back to their offices. It's the reason, naturally, why they are busy in the grandstanding.
Okocha adds that the recent media attacks on Wike's personality were rational and appealed to those who specialize in using unprintable languages to score cheap political points to the deceased. Let's take our last break. Do stay with us. Now to the global scene. United States and China continue trade talks in London, with both sides seeking to shore up shaky tariff truce. Details with Francis Udojo.
The London meeting between China and U.S. officials came after Washington accused Beijing of violating their Geneva deal to de-escalate staggeringly high tariffs. Stock markets wavered as investors hoped the talks will bring so much needed calm on trading floors and ease tensions between the economic superpowers. The agenda is expected to be dominated by exports of rare earth minerals used in a wide range of things, including smartphones, electric vehicle batteries, and green technology. A U.S. economic official said U.S. had agreed to lower tariffs on them, and China had agreed to release the magnets and rare earths that are needed. Meanwhile, 18 countries at the UN Ocean Summit in France have signed an agreement to ratify the High Seas Treaty, bringing the total to 49, just 11 short of the 60 needed for the Ocean Agreement to enter into force. The surge in support adds momentum to what could become a historic shift in how the world governs the open ocean, formerly known as the Agreement on Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction. In another development, the government of Rwanda has formally reaffirmed its decision to withdraw from the Economic Community of Central African States, ECAS, citing persistent manipulation of the bloc by certain member states. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
And Bade Adele is set to bring us updates in the world of sports. Bade.
Many thanks, Elizabeth. Let's begin with athletics, as the NCCA Track and Field Championships will make a return to Hayward Field in Eugene, where 22 Nigerian athletes will be competing for collegiate honors for their respective schools from June the 11th to 14th. Some of these athletes made their mark in 2024 and others in 2025. and are strong contenders for individual titles. Temitope Adesina spearheads the Nigerian contingent at the championships, having won the women's high jump crown at the NCAA Indoor Championships. Tima Godbless, Ella Onujevevo, Pristina Ochonogo, Adaobi Tabobo, Precious Nzeako, and Favor Onya are other known names in the women's category. On the men's side, Ezekiel Nathaniel, Samuel Ogaze, Edidion Udo, and Konyisola Ajayi, Israel Okon, Charles Godfrey, and Vincent Ogoke, among others, will be competing. Now to football. The summer transfer window has closed. Fear not, though. It is only for 6 days. The short pause was to accommodate clubs wanting to sign players ahead of the FIFA Club World Cup, which begins on Sunday, the 15th of June. The transfer window opened early on Sunday, 1st of June, for an exceptional registration period, but because FIFA's rules stipulate the transfer windows in a calendar year when combined cannot be greater than 16 weeks, a break had to be inserted. Therefore, the summer's first window closed about 3 hours ago. The new short 10-day period applied only to the 20 national associations with teams playing in the Club World Cup to allow them to register players for the group stages of the competition. And now, Igor Tudor will remain in charge of Juventus next season after Damian Comoli, the club's general manager, confirmed on Tuesday. Tudor arrived in March after Juve sacked Thiago Motta, with the club having been knocked out of all the cup competitions and sitting outside the top 4 in Serie A. Juventus lost only one more league game and finished 4th to qualify for the Champions League, but the 47-year-old warned his future must be sorted before their Club World Cup campaign kicks off next week. That's a bit on sports tonight. Let's return to Elizabeth.
Thank you, Buddy, for the updates. The Adewi family of Osogbo, Osun State announces the passing on to the great beyond of the mother, grandmother and great-grandmother, Mama Rafat Arike Adewi, at the age of 93. Popularly known as Mama Pastor, the matriarch of the Adewi extended family, passed on yesterday, Monday, June 9, 2025, and has been buried in accordance to Islamic rites. She was a community leader and successful trader who impacted the community positively. A funeral prayer will be held at the family house at Atonda Compound, Isale Osun Osogbo, on Monday, 16th of June, 2025. Left to mourn her are children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, among them Ademola Adeoye, an Ilorin-based cleric. And next is a quick look at the weather prospect for tomorrow, Thursday.
A warm welcome. Here's your weather update as we track the movement of major thunderstorm activities across the country. Here is an intense thunderstorm cell which is developing deep over northern Cameroon, and they are already brushing across the fringes of Adamawa, parts of Taraba and Benue states. These storm systems are expected to persist into early hours of Wednesday, gradually extending into parts of Plateau, the Federal Capital Territory, some parts of Nasarawa, Kogi and Benue. Heading into late morning and early afternoon, residents of northwestern states should be prepared for isolated thunderstorms and scattered rain showers. So keep those umbrellas handy. By evening, we're expecting an increased thunderstorm activities, especially localized storms across most southern cities, with systems likely to stretch up into parts of Niger, Kogi, the parts of Kwara, Plateau, and the Federal Capital Territory. So do stay weather aware, and that's your forecast. Join us again.
Of course, you heard it, keep those umbrellas close. And that's the news. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Elizabeth Omori.